the more volatile weeks we see, and going into the December 19th to December 20th with the Bank of Japan, we know they're going to raise rates. It's just a matter of, do they go 25 basis points or do they go as high as 75 basis points? The consensus out of Japan seems to be it's going to be at least 25 basis points, with a lot of confluency to at least that number. So that should be very interesting in the crypto market. The last time we had a rate hike in the Bank of Japan, when there was the consistency of rate cuts around the world, and then all of a sudden the Bank of Japan kind of went off script here, Bitcoin went down $11,000 in about 7 calendar days, which at the time was about a 20% drop. So are we going to have a similar event take place here? Are we going to have some upward volatility? The motto here for me, if you're new in my community, well, one, it always starts with positivity over negativity. We're helpful, not hurtful. We try to be inspiring, not take away somebody's like their motivation. So, but the motto of this season in crypto, just let it happen. Keep your liquidity to the side, as I said on Friday, as the prices are now lower than Friday in the altcoins. Just let it happen. If this market wants us to buy in so badly, it's going to prove to us that it can take out this bearish momentum, and that it's going to reverse from a bear market that we started, ironically, the end of the bull market, into a bear in January. So now we have to deal with the repercussions of after July, when we tried to come back up in most cases, and we just never were able to get it right in crypto. It seems like the likely reason for this is we've had not just U.S. governments, but governments across the world crying for Bitcoin, showing big institutions buying large amounts of Bitcoin, leveraging, taking out loans. You've got big players like Michael Saylor, and I'll show you again, he bought more Bitcoin, supposedly through MicroStrategy. They seem to be given the false allure, and I think it's pretty simplistic why. Bitcoin's almost down $40,000 from the top. Oh, you heard that right. It's closing in on down $40,000 from the top. So that means all the pushing, all the nonsense that they're telling us, all of this is that it's going to be the new U.S. Reserve and all this other nonsense. It seems to me very simple. We ended up once again exit liquidity. Well, not all of us, but some of us in retail, most of retail. I'd say 95% of retail ended up as exit liquidity. And why I say that is when everybody was voting for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, they were all donating crypto. So no matter who won, we had to have some kind of elevation. So by virtue, by good luck, by consistency, we were in, before that run up in November of 24, ultimately commencing and ending in late December, some in January, and then some double topped in July. They came back up and double topped that January or late December high. But now for the last almost year or so, it's been a series of let's get back up there and then bring it down real quick. Then let's give them false hope and bring it back down again. And let's give them. This is what it means to buy the dip when it's not the dip. This is when you are 100% exit liquidity. And I believe retail had a special tax in risk assets this year where they paid back all the donors and didn't even know it. So that's what I believe is going on. I don't hold as much capital to the sidelines as I have for no reason. I was tempted 0% on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, and we'll see what goes on, because I believe this is the hardest, most difficult part of trying to buy in a bear market, because most people, when they actually are in, by the time the bear market floors in, they're 50, 60, 70% down, which constitutes a lot of time a 4, 5, or even 6x move in some cases. But more traditionally, a 2x move is fair. Some cases it would be a 100% move. But most cases it'll be a 2, 3, 4x move just to get back to where most people averaged in, thinking they were buying a dip, and then it drops off by 2/3. So that's the harsh reality of investing. That's the harsh reality, especially in a risk asset. And the culmination of gold and silver just liking every bit of what's going on even though gold right now is up $23, it was up about 45 earlier, consolidating the bulk of the move earlier. Silver's back up 2.32%, which means money's finding yield in risk assets here, or not in risk assets, but risk off. Silver Corp Mining has a little bit of a surge this morning, but I never put too much stock into these things at 9:30 a.m. You get a lot of people that are overzealous Monday morning. So we'll see how this shakes out, by noon, 1 o'clock. I expect to see some kind of upward volatility with Dolly Varden, but you don't know where that level comes from, so maybe it consolidates down more. But there's going to be a point in time where we get some kind of surge here. So all eyes there, and on Silver Corp, which we know with the common stocks that were eaten up. So it's just we're at a very trying time here. And like I woke up this morning when I seen Bitcoin up, I'm like, oh shit. Because if I was pulling maximum liquidity, I would make the US think that everything is okay. Let them all wake up. And it's like I always talk about. The US wakes up at, 7:30, 8 a.m. It's only 5 a.m. Pacific time. The USA, for the most part, some people are at work, but the bulk of people in the USA, the average time is 9 to 5. So by 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, they're waking up, getting ready for the work routine. I was up about that time getting ready for the routine with my son for school. Well, I was up before that, but neither here nor there. We're talking about the work schedule. So then you take your shower, brush your teeth, shave. Women, get yourself, looking right, because men often just leave the house not understanding what it means to actually be cordial and have a good presentation. So that's where we can not envy, but take some lessons from our female counterparts, because they know how to go out and actually look presentable when they go into a real situation. So take notes. But anyhow, by the time we get ourselves put together, some people have to eat, some don't. Like, fortunately for me, I don't eat till noon because I fast 16 hours a day. So I don't have to worry about food in the morning. Vitamins, yes. But anyhow, so you get out, you get to work, you get through traffic, you clock in, and by the time you sit at your desk, you got up and Ethereum's up 3%. You got up and Bitcoin's up $2,000. By the time you get to the office, now all of a sudden you look and you're like, what the hell's going on? And then you blink again, and everything you bought in the morning is now down 4 to 6%. You haven't even clocked into work yet. Like, you literally just got into work, and now it gets even worse, though, because now you have to get that re-exacerbation for the ones in the West Coast. So now, all of a sudden, they're getting up. Now, you're at work. It's 9:50, 10 o'clock. It's 6:50 where they're at. So now they're looking at, oh, hey, we're getting some red here. I'm going to buy this dip. And it's like counterintuitive. All of a sudden, an hour later, maybe you get a small rally back up like we seen here right before we started, and then it started dropping off again. And then, it's just a repetitive motion. So now we see where we're at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it's just this repetitive cycle replays. And it's like the number one message I had for everybody is just let it happen here. Do not get involved. Don't try to buy a dip. Don't try to get fancy. Just let this happen. There's no reason to time a falling knife. Either we're going to buy it at the same price when it was at, a couple days ago when it comes back up, so no harm, no foul, or you're going to see such a significant drop, and we've talked about it, like we've lost right now that zone that is very critical for XRP. And it's almost like we've walked through it in real time together, because I have not wavered. I've talked about this move, and it's going to prove it to me one way or the other that this is or is not going to happen. The 4 hourly, lots of credibility that we can come down much farther. The daily got itself in some interesting levels now. So now it's pushed down in a great way. The weekly's doing a great job. It's the monthly that's still got the room that it's pushing through. And we're pushing down. And we're going to do one of two things. We're either going to get held at that $1.85, $1.77 to $1.82 zone. And if we don't hold that zone, you're talking about a possible, in most cases, maybe not XRP. Maybe XRP won't come that far, but most things are going to come back down to that October 10th low. And there's a big part of me, like I've been saying for the last several months, once we get that push up, you got to hold the liquidity, and it's not a trader's market until we get to where we're going. Because most times when you have a big drop like we had on October 10th of 65% mostly across the board in a lot of cases in the alts, over a series of time, you build back down and you double bottom slightly lower than that exit wick. I call it the exit liquidity or the historic liquidation wick, but whatever you want to call it, you come down and you retap that wick generally. And you usually make a newer low, and then only then when you clear out all of that leverage, because it would be too easy to let all those people with all that leverage just push through a bona fide bull, even if it's a fake bull run, but to have them be up several X on a leverage trade, the market generally doesn't like that. Everything is setting up for everybody to think everything's, good morning, 9:54 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Monday, December 15th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. Doesn't matter if XYO is all coins in circulation. That token is going to be one to dump the hardest in a shitstorm. Make no mistake about it. I love XYO, but if we do dump down, that's going to be a token that takes it up the ass. Well, takes it on the, takes it for, what's the right word? In today's safe language and safe talk, which wouldn't have went over well when I was growing up. You'd have just been called well, I can't say what you would have been called now. It's considered hate speech, I suppose. For the lack of a better word, they're going to beat you over the head with fucking brass knuckles. How about that? Can everybody speak the universal language of getting the shit beat out of them? There, that's better. That's better. Right in the old pooper, like Mr. Stott said. Yes, indeed. And thanks for being in Town Zone for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor, along with Bright Future, My Yard Now, Mrs. Stott also in the house. Mr. Stott's got to be on his best behavior. Mark Smith. Who else? And Dan Marginal in 3 months with the XRP Meteor. Only one Harvey Boy. And have I been dishonest with everybody, or have I been brutally honest with everybody, telling you to not buy anything and hold your liquidity on the sidelines? Who's been the voice of reason, at least, during these drops? I've been trying my best. It's not because I want to look like an asshole. It's just, this is the way it is right now. And it can prove it to us. If we have a big bullish reversal, it can prove it to us. And I would be the first to be happy as hell. Only one Harvey Boy, good morning. Will we ever gonna see this bull run? Yeah, when it's time. It's not time yet. But the bull run, like I keep telling everybody, no, you shouldn't be sick of dumping, everybody. If you've got liquidity and you've done this properly, you'd be happy. Everybody who's this happy or unhappy, I would assume you've bought in and you're sitting on this falling knife. And there's nothing wrong with, a little bit of learning. I've gone through this every cycle, and then the next cycle, the people just do what I do. Haven't you noticed? Only because they were through it the previous cycle when they were you. If you're stuck in this. And I was you before. I used to be you. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. We all have to go through this. We all have to go through this. It's the bitter part of learning and investing. And now we need to see if this falling knife stops. Ever. I mean, going into Friday, my birthday is December 17th. So I keep thinking I'm turning 43 now because I've been telling you guys I'm 42. I swear I've been saying this for the last 4 months to everybody that I'm 42. So I had to look at I'm like, wait a minute, what year was I born? If I was born in 83, I can't be 43. So I'm happy. I've been telling myself I was 42 for the last 4 months, and here I am just turning 42 in 2 days, so I don't feel like I'm aging. It's great. I woke up today, I'm like, man, I'm having a good hair day too for some reason. I told Julie, she started laughing in the car. It's ironic because my son He woke up at 11 o'clock last night after like 5 hours of sleep. And he's been up ever since, went to school. He's the happiest person. So I stayed up till 3 and Julie sent me to bed until like 7. And it's been a funny day. So I've been able to kind of watch this market unfold. And earlier in the night, I'm like, oh boy. I'm like, there's going to be some damage here. There's going to be some happy foot peddlers. And then Monday morning, it's going to be a shitstorm for some. But anyhow, let's continue. But I try to teach in a real honest way. Like this, I'm not a financial advisor. I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you exactly what I'm doing. This is historical data. And yes, after 5 years, I'm finally going to teach a class. It's true. But there's reasons for it, and I'm not going to get into them right now. But it was either I take time away from this, which I would have still done YouTube, but it could have took away some of my time. Because I wouldn't have been at the house. But I got basically out of work for my special needs son, because he's never going to be able to in a fashion that most people will. And he's nonverbal, and he's just got a lot of things he deals with. A lot of trauma and just other things as well, but I don't want to get into it. So I'm trying to evolve right in front of your very eyes. So, you know, you may see people that you're not familiar with too. FYI. In the classes. Frankie Fresh, thanks for being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XP Predictor. And you'll hear more about that later when it's relevant. But I plan on starting it early January. So you're going to see a sign-up list coming around in the next, like, 4 to 5 days, I would assume, business days. So if you're interested in it, we're going to have a big opportunity to learn. It's going to be the basics of the basics, so you don't have to, so you can properly prepare yourself for all of this. And it's going to take a lot of time. We're only going to be as strong as our weakest member. And that means every lesson, and there's 2 a week, 8 hours a month. It's all thought out. But anyhow, we got to keep talking about this. I dropped sneak peeks about that. Mary Cleveland, welcome in. Sick of dumping. I know. Patience, Mary. Patience. If anything, take this as a learning experience. Bearded Viking, welcome in. We give our continued blessings to Mighty Marcus as he fights the good fight. We ask for Yahweh and Yeshua for guidance. And most importantly, no pain during the process. That's what I always pray for my son. He's not feeling the pain during everything. So, and most of all, God, give Bearded Viking the strength. Amen. But good morning, Bearded. I hope you're having a blessed day so far. Mark Caston, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Let's see. Mark Smith, I already said hi to you, but hello again, my good friend. Ben Graham and Silver Days, good morning. Joseph Euler, thanks for being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XRP Predictor. Frankie Fresh, 6+ months with the XP Predictor. And Janine, if you're watching, I hope you're having a blessed morning. I don't know what's going on, but it's like, I feel humbled in a way today for some reason. In a deeper way, because I feel like a lot of us have been watching this unfold for the last 6 months together. I know a lot of us 4 years too. I'm talking about just when everybody was kind of looking at it one way, a certain select group of us all got together here, good or bad, whether you're in a position or not, and we started to become more honest with ourselves in our rendition of what's going on. And I think it's allowing us to lead better by example. I've noticed a little bit of pickup in subscribers. Nothing crazy, but I have noticed more subscribers. I've been noticing new names, which is good to see in the chat. But the best thing to see is the core members are getting stronger. And like my message to you core members that come in here every single day is you define this community. So when somebody else comes in and they're not so sure about themselves, you know, you can take it upon yourself now that you've been around for some length of time, and you can give some, you know, some good guidance. Show them the way. Walk them off the cliff instead of letting them jump out of this reality. You don't want that. You know, try to offer them that hand of guidance because you've seen this. Like, there's so much we can offer. And my whole mind is switching in the late 25. I'm sure all of you see it at the end of the year. But just, I see a different way. Like, You know, once I found, and I was sitting there on Friday with Julie, and I literally said, Julie, on the way to picking our son up, I was so defeated because I can see the unraveling of a great society we once had, and I could see it in real time when I was a kid. And I used to cry from the rooftops. Nobody listened to me. I was a kid. And I used to always say 25 years from now, 25 years. And my mom would be like, it's 25 years. Who cares? Anyhow, I can see it. The conglomerate, they won. So now I'm taking it upon myself to teach whoever wants to be taught, and here or deeper. And we're going to go through the whole journey of economics, the whole journey of how to get through this mess, and the whole reality of what we need to do to stay out. Otherwise, we're just going to get swallowed up and spit out. And there's going to be a small sector of us who can survive. And I truly believe I have the guidance. For whatever reason, I've been given the clairvoyance when I was very young. I was given a choice when I was young. And I was, especially in dreams, because I dream I was in purgatory. And it was always, you can either know, and you can be misunderstood for all of eternity, basically, is how it goes. Or you can be just another person out in the dust. And I chose to see what was the truth. And once that, some of you have gone through this, once that flip switches, you're given that ultra guidance. You couldn't give yourself it. You got this from the man upstairs, our entity, the greater power. So I believe I got this divine intervention to where I can see things most people can't, which one of the ways that was allowed is I had to get some trauma. And I know it sounds crazy, but I had to have frontal lobe damage. It created my rewiring in my head. I don't have serotonin properly. I had to go through my injuries and broken back and all. Everything has to happen the way it happens to get you to where you're at. Like, everything has to happen exactly like it happened. You know the anomaly of all of us sitting here right now? Everything had to happen exactly the way it happened for all of us to be here right now. Isn't that insane to think about? Like, the odds of all of us sitting here is so small. But I don't want to continue pushing a message. I would like to keep as many people as possible this morning with just the understanding of, I believe this moment in time, it's unraveling the way it's going to. And like with 3i Atlas and everything, they're telling you that they're going to flip everything we once thought was to be. So the point of this is you're going to have to believe in something greater than yourself, and why not than your fellow peers and the ones who are on the same page as you. Now, if you see something of significance that happened this morning, you understand correctly because you were here. That hot pink line has been broken. That is ultra bearish. That ultra bearish sign, if we're below that hot pink line, that drives you down in real time now to about that $1.77 area. $1.77 to $1.82 perfectly. If this continues. 3 hourly has plenty of room to continue pushing down, and it's moving down in stochastic. 4 hourly, that's a horrible candle to start Monday morning. So we'll see if this continues. Remember that rework back up, though, as we talked about at the start of this live for the Pacific Standard Time, folks. Now, could this be a strategic time for them to drive it back up, give them a little bit to like $1.96 or $1.97 again? I don't know. It's pretty bad right now. But it could. This could be the moment where it could do that. Let's see what gold and silver is doing. U.S. dollars hang on to the 98 handle, another 0.25%, and it's going to be well below it now. It's pretty crazy. LAES continues to flounder down another 5% after getting slaughtered on Friday. I hope this just continues to break down like we're expecting. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a company that I go hardcore at, and depending on the price is depending on how much I buy. If it gets to $1 or lower, I think I'm going to drop 10,000 shares. If it gets back into that flow. I just see big things with this company when a lot of things are going to be bearish next year. Oh man, I think some of you understand what that company is now. It's a big boy. But yeah, if it was me, this could be an opportune time to push it back up just a slight bit. Not saying you're going to make crazy gains, but this would be a time in the market if they're trying to, crush. And I mean crush the West Coast here. And it would make sense if they did something like this. So we continue to pull this through. So now, in theory, you could show resistance at 195-ish. But we'll see. This is a shit storm unfolding here on Monday morning. I can tell you that right now. And I'm all for it. Stop fucking with us and just let it happen. That's what I keep telling the market makers. The hell with this bullshit. Just let it happen. I know you want all this maximum liquidity. Just let this shit happen already. And it sucks when they don't let it happen because it's maximum exposure to both sides. So right now the apex technically is the end of the year. But that doesn't tell you if it's going to break out or break. Like there's so much riding on this moment right now that is... And that's what gets you a little scared because if you were going to break out, we do the simulation. If it was going to break out how it should have. And it tried. And getting beaten down by the 200-day, then beaten down by the pattern. And then it gets stuck within every single micro level of the pattern. It's dangerous. We're getting sucked into a vortex. I'll say it and I'll say it again. It's a lot easier to find people to sell at a loss than to have new people coming off the sidelines when they've been getting whitewashed for the better part of a year. And if you look at it universally, I don't see any easy money coming in. They haven't had any kind of... and they can print all the money they want right now in the short term. I'm telling you guys what happens initially. Everybody thought on Friday, all these risk assets and everything were going to just go parabolic because of the quantitative easing. Read within the parabolicness, okay? What needs to happen for it to find risk assets is it was all being denoted in the beginning to the T-bills for a reason. They had to drive the rates up in the treasury bills, the treasury bonds. All of that money for the first like 60 days, its majority is going to the T-bills. Which means it's going to take at least a month or two before risk assets starts to feel the overlap. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Do you think the government is going to use all of this quantitative easing money when the price was higher? Or do you think they're going to crash the fucking market to buy in cheaper and have an immediately pullback? And then when we're all hammered, right, by sitting in it, all they need is that retest of the drop, and that's like a 20 or 30% move now. And all it's doing is retesting that bullshit drop when quantitative easing supposedly started. And that's exactly what they're doing. They drove the price up. Remember, before QE, they drove the price of Bitcoin right near 95. Right when QE started, it dropped almost $8,000 already. Because they're aligning themselves for when they do make that purchase with risk assets. I'm telling you, it happens without... Go back to March of 23. Same shit happened. It went sideways, up and down, sideways before a nice drop. Then... whoosh, shot out with some bullshit in July. XRP had the fake end of the case in 23. Then they said, oh, all this bullshit. Remember, everything dropped back down, and including XRP lost the whole 1x. And that's when I assumed the government sold back out, and they played the game again. Then they all reinvested because they knew there was going to be the political pump for all the donors. So again, they realigned back in, and then they sold back out. And now they're setting all their marbles in one space, putting all their eggs in one basket, because what do they do when they have all that profit? They're not holding crypto. Oh, the government has pulled the biggest wool over everybody's... They pulled a garbage bag over your face and started suffocating you. So you were disoriented. Then they let you breathe a little bit and then showed you something and said, this is what we're doing. And, oh, this is a great plan. No, in reality, what they're doing is they're buying the risk asset. They're taking a lot of that profit over, it's all of our money. A secret tax. Remember what I talked about, the secret tax and that you don't even know about. And they're going and buying precious metals with that money. It's fucking bullshit. So they're buying silver and gold. Look at all the silver and gold bought in the USA in the last year and a half and tell me I'm wrong. Where are they getting the money from? Us. Like always. So we got to play their game. That's why I said gold and silver in 25 was the can't miss trade. Mining stocks were can't miss trades. Everybody gets so caught up. Oh, it's down 6% in one day. They're up 130, 140, 170, 200% these miners. Of course they're down 6% in one day. Of course gold dropped $200 in one day sometimes. It's at 4,325. At what point don't we stop bashing our head through the wall and be like, holy shit, we've been lied to. Silver is going out the... Remember they all said once it hits 50, that cup and handle, it's done it forever. No, what it's done is it's built up a lot of nonsense. And that once they flush that nonsense out, like in silver's case, there's so many people trying to stack shorts right now, it's hilarious. Because paper doesn't equate to real physical movement. Do you know that, and I want to share this person's information, but Craig, if you're watching, if you're watching, give Sandra my love. Craig's my friend from Canada. He sent me some great stuff over the years. We talk we try to send each other a couple messages a week with a lot of information. But he sent me something interesting, and it's on point. So Samsung is buying directly from Mexico mines, and right now they're paying $69 an ounce for silver. Why do you think Samsung, which is also the creator of my tablet, the creator of all my tech that I use, because I don't like Apple or iPhones, I think they suck. No offense to my Apple audience. It's 2025, make them open source already. But I digress. But the fact that Samsung's paying $69 an ounce to buy them from Mexican mines, or Mexico mine, tells you all you need to know. There's not a lot of scarcity with silver. There's not a lot left. It's very difficult to buy silver right now. And like these risk assets, I mean, we want to keep talking about how they should go up, a lot of people. How can you talk like that? Like, they can't. There's no environment for it. People are fucking broke. Think about it. They need a stimulus. They need something. Okay? Without all of that, it's not going to happen. So when I say let it happen, that's because I want the right pricing, and I don't want to see $43,000 in my KRAKEN account go down at all. And it's not during all of this. That's all liquid. And it's going to stay liquid until I feel like this is reversing. And right now it's saved me a lot of buying, and I can probably buy something more that I don't own right now, or a lot more of something else. And it's like, do I not want to be in XDC? No, I don't not want to be in XDC. But am I going to hold its hand and lose money? There's no fucking way. When it got rejected at the 200 day, there's no reason for me to hold. It showed me all it needed to show me. It went up to the top, and it failed. And it gave a perfect double top. We talked about it when it happened in real time. But I didn't even, remember, when it got to Winning Wednesdays this week, are you going to buy in Winning Wednesdays? Not this time. And I said why, because now we got to see when it gets to 4.3 or 4.3. We'll come over here. But that's where I think the next opportunity is. But there's no reason to get dog walked down the park for a 17% drop. No, I'd rather increase my holdings by 17%. I'm not getting dog walked here. And then everybody's like, well, what about taxes? What about them? If you're trying to buy and then you're selling after, you're not typically up. And if you are, it's very small. Normally you're down with this kind of a strategy, and then you buy at the next support, but you have more tokens. I'm not getting dog walked here. Tell everybody every cycle, I will not get dog walked during this dump. I mean, oh, you still hold XRP? Yes, but you have to put it from the whole perspective. I bought $5,000 at 38 cents in 24 when it had that drop for a reason, so that I didn't have to do anything with the 34-cent XRP until I'm ready. Unless it proves me that we're going to come back under $1 and cut in half, well, then it's a different story, because that's an easy double up with holdings. But the rest of it was so I wouldn't have to sell it. I don't need to do anything. There was like, we already did the math. It was 38 to 41,000 in profit from what we bought in a 1 calendar year when we were able to, not even 1 calendar year. It was like 6 months, 7 months, and sold it and was done. There's going to be a tax hit for sure. But at the same time, you know, we're talking big boy business now. This is big stuff when this drops. The fact I'm not getting crushed, and I can't speak for everybody, but a lot of you are following the same tracks. I get asked all the time, why don't you short the market in an inverse fashion even? Because my money that I make shorting the market is simply not being part of these drops. Haven't you realized that? I can make thousands and thousands of dollars, not even showing on paper, because that 43,000 would be down. I've been doing the math with everything that I held, probably down near 39,000 now. So you're talking about I have $4,000 in addition now to what I had of buying power, even though the price says the same. So this is the equivalent of putting the US dollar into gold. But I've been very honest with my audience. I just said, let it fucking happen. You don't want to be a part of this. Just let it happen. And yeah, sometimes do I sound defeated? Or do I get a little bit overzealous or a little bit over emotional? Yes, because I get sad when I see people lose their hard-earned money when they don't have to. But you can only preach what you can, and you can only get the respect you've earned. And I haven't earned enough respect from a wide enough base to where people are like, hey, that's the guy you want to watch. Now, we've definitely had a growing base. That's for sure, but it's going to take time. I'm appreciative that we're at 48,400 plus subscribers, which doesn't seem real. But you see over the last week, I picked up in the last 2 days or so, 200 new subscribers, and that's not by accident. The price is doing what we were saying. So this will help me pick up subscribers. This could help me pick up a couple thousand subscribers real quick. But then the moment, all those people are falling out though, because as it's going down, the harsh reality of doing a risk asset and being an influencer for that, like XRP or crypto. Yes, people from the miners and the gold and silver will stay tuned, but the ones who are in crypto are finally giving up. This is unfortunately, what we need for exhaustion. We need an exhaustion phase. When the crypto fear and greed index was going up, it was a key indicator that everybody's doing it wrong. They're buying when they shouldn't have. You see what's happening now, guys? See how fast we fall? That's all we need to see. We got up to 30, remember last week? Or 28. Now it's happening because people are literally, this is what it looks like when the mine got fucked. This is the one. I've been saying it since before this drop happened. If we get a substantial 15, 20, 25% drop in one day, take advantage of it. If for whatever reason this fell out and all of a sudden XRP's at $1.77, $1.75, who knows how much farther it could go in this scenario. But if it has a scenario like this, get ready for something. It just, are we pricing this in before the Bank of Japan on Friday, which is possible, and the USA is going to feel it on the front end? It's a very scary proposition what's coming Friday, and I make no bones about it. And let me just share some of the stuff I shared on Facebook. I would appreciate if some of you went to Facebook. I literally don't talk about anything except for the stuff. So some information. Why is this in this setting? This looks like crap. I hate how they do this. Sorry. I don't like when it's like this. It needs to be dark. I don't like it. That's okay. I'll just read it like this for the lack of... I think I have to go into the other part of this, which is so stupid. Anyhow, always changing settings, always doing things that I don't want them to do on here. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Anyhow, Michael Saylor's strategy buys 980.3 million in Bitcoin. Total holdings cross 671,000 Bitcoin. The world's largest corporate holder of Bitcoin is MicroStrategy. Has once again made headlines with a massive acquisition reinforcing its bold Bitcoin accumulation strategy. Executive Chairman Michael Saylor announced that the company added 10,645 Bitcoin to its treasury. Imagine this, just hear this out. Treasury for approximately 980 million. Their hoarding intensifies. Its latest purchase, made at an average of 92,000. So over about $4,000 underwater from just that recent purchase. Marks another significant commitment by the business intelligence firm to its Bitcoin-centric treasury strategy. So its latest acquisition was 10,645 Bitcoin worth $980.3 million. $92,098 per Bitcoin was the last price. Total holdings 671,268 Bitcoin worth $50.33 billion. Average price $74,972. What's the price of Bitcoin right now? If I was him, I would be sweating my nutsack off right now. I mean, it's all by design, but I would be sweating my nuts off. Hardcore, because the closer this gets to 74, a margin call is going to happen. At some point, a margin call happens because most of this is levered Bitcoin. And the institution is going to say, hey, Mr. Saylor, we've been doing business for you for a couple of years, but we're getting a little too close to that. We're going to have to call some of this. And once they do that, MicroStrategies and whoever is lending him these corporate oh my God, and it's a treasury. His treasury's underwater since he announced it. Imagine having a treasury and it's underwater. So his aggregate, which is his actual price of everything together, is $74,972, almost up to $75K per Bitcoin. A significant share of Bitcoin's total supply with this latest acquisition. Strategy now controls a staggering 671,268 Bitcoin. This war chest represents over 3.2%. This clown, the government, owns 3.2% of the entire 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be mined. So, yeah, there's that. We know about Amina Bank. I've talked about it before. You can read this if you want to read it. It doesn't push my stuff around, so it's very hard to push my stuff. And then Bitcoin whales create 90,000 headwind by selling calls. Market analyst Jeff Park explains why Bitcoin is falling toward 90K, even as stocks hit new highs, noting a recent decoupling in late 2025. The cause long-term Bitcoin holders whales are selling covered call options, forcing market makers to sell spot Bitcoin and creating short-term downward pressure, Park states. Doesn't that go hand in hand with the U.S. quantitative easing and lining them up with cheaper buy prices when they actually decide to buy risk assets? Kind of a colluding effort, isn't it? The outlook, despite the immediate selling, the long-term uptrend is expected to hold. Park believes these whales will return to the market, and he identifies sovereign adoption as the ultimate super catalyst for future price surges. So yeah, that's what they're saying, folks. You guys think they're full of shit yet? Or do you think we've identified a perfect catalyst for why it's dropping? I think so. I do. And yeah, is it volatile in gold, silver, and precious metals? It is, but it's this volatility only helps. Did I lead you in the wrong direction in black oil, or did I say hold off here even when it got to 63 and say, hey, if this is going the way they want, the U.S. only has one thing to hold their hat on, and they should cut the price of gold or black gold oil to that minimum of 51.60, and then if they do what they traditionally do, we could have this catastrophic markdown phase where maybe we do come back down here to 22 bucks. So we're gonna see. We're gonna let this all happen. We're gonna let it come to us. Let it come to us. Just gonna let it come to us. And I can tell you, I know for a fact people are having a hard time. There is a sellout of emerging markets through retirement and mutual funds that you only see when people are getting pinched, because you don't really want to sell these bonds because year over year they do good. But I noticed one was down 5% in one day. And like, yeah, that's small potatoes compared to where it started the year. Because when we bought into this particular bond, it was down here, and the reason we bought into it with this year's allotment is because it was so cheap in comparison, it hadn't had to move up. So yeah, is that a small move down in comparison? Yes, but somebody somewhere isn't going to let this do the back and forth tussle, and this is supposed to be deferred accounts when you use these kind of mutual funds, which means some people are willing to take the tax hit to get the money out. Which means that we're at a big credit crunch. Once you start taking out foreign markets too, when our own market's crashing, that's kind of like your safety valve. So I don't know. We're starting to get it's either the market has a correction here to the upside at some point today, or we're just going to have that slow crawl going into Friday. And it certainly seems like we're starting that slow crawl the last few days. Because this is not at $1.98. It's not at 204 like on Friday, or $1.98 where it's hit down and then retested to and all this other crap. Now we're trying to fight the $1.92 level. When I started this live, I said XRP drops 27% since November, below $1.96. Now I would have to say drops below $1.92 or almost 30%. Bitcoin targets 80K, a rising wedge to 72K or worse. that should say it would have been a rising wedge target, but I ran out of characters I could use. YouTube stops you at 100 characters or less. Lonzo, thanks for the $5 donation. First super chat or any monetary donation of the live, so I greatly appreciate that. I did not work for free today. What price you liking SHX on confidence? Lonzo, I love SHX, as you know, but I was not going to hold the bag after that big run-up. Just like I love Linnea and Ban, I'm not holding them. After the run-ups, I sell until it's the holding phase, which we're getting there. But the problem with all of these, you see how we had these run-ups in the last 12 hours with these? These just build bigger drops, and all it did was come to resistance. And I'm not a magician. I just know the levels. And I know a lot of people, the reason that they trust me is because when it comes through levels, it ends up hitting the points on the map, and all they have to do is follow the map. They don't even have to do anything. Like, legitimately, you don't have to do anything. And like here, we had this line out for all eternity. And what did it do? It came up to it at 8.3, and it decided to use that at 0083 as a perfect resistance. Well, the technical target out of that setup that was already set up, and you get validation by not only back testing that range, but you can get rejected at 8.3 and just fall through without any kind of real back test. That just means, for some people, they're not going to want to know what it means, but this means we've got no fahoonies left. We've got no mojo. Which means that this could, in fact, bring us down into that 4.7 area. It really could. It really could bring us back down there. And some people ask me, well, I projected this out this way. So my projection would be in worst case scenario, we should come down to 4.7. So where do I want to buy? Somewhere around there. I want to make sure that it holds that. I don't know if that's the exact spot. I'm just guessing. Because in theory, it could be like, you know what? Hold on. In theory, it could be like that, actually. And that would make more sense with where the drop point's at. The only reason I say that is because we had this wick. It bounced out, came slightly below, but then pulled back up. So I think we give it the credit here and have it come slightly below the level. That makes a lot more sense, I think. And then this. Oh, yeah, I remember this now. We did it like this. Same theory. Same theory. This wick was just a pull down and it created this. Perfect. Yeah, so 5.2 actually. Now that I relook at that, I'm glad you asked the question. So around 5.2, if it actually happens, 4 hourly's got plenty of room to fall out. If the market allows it. Tons of room. So, private citizen, and did you say last week sell now, but you just use the keyword if, like all the rest, you use caveats? Suck my dick, because you're full of shit, and that won't be tolerated. But why lie? I said very point blank that I was 100% fully liquidated and not to buy. See, people like you who lie, I don't understand why you would come in here and lie. No one said if. I'm not a financial advisor. I say you have to make the decision, cocksucker. And that's the way it goes. So, let's see. If there's one thing I'm not putting up with in 26 is douchebags that lie about what I do. So I use the keyword. It's called BLOCK. Go fuck yourself. All right. Anyhow, if you wanna talk, speak truthfully. Otherwise, I'm not gonna entertain it anymore. It's not worth my time. I don't do a free show for no reason. I don't need views that badly. I want people to push the proper narrative, not a lie. But that's just going to be a temporary thing. So, well, I'm sure we'll see him back tomorrow. Because I'm not doing a permanent block. Just a 24-hour one because I don't feel like dealing with it. I'm trying to do some real work here. But anyhow, that's the way it goes. Let's see. Who did I not hit? XRP backer says MSTR will buy more. I think as he shared, he was in Abu Dhabi, last week and announced purchase of $10 billion. Guy's on his rocker. MQT, we've been talking about this smart move. Yep, absolutely. And thanks for being a very trusted mod in here along with JBHK. And also MQT in the Telegram as well. You've done a phenomenal job in there. Silver going to be $100. Yep. We've all been talking about this actually. It's hard to know if we're going to retest here. This is just, we have to watch all of this. And it's honestly like, I keep saying it's the make it or break it the other day. And it really was, because that's what allows us to start this step. And then if it doesn't hold here, because now the retest in theory could be that $1.96, $1.94. There's just so many different levels that can be the retest. Creamy goodness, look at the 200 weekly on the 5-year chart. LEAS. Ooh, love it. Love that somebody shows interest in this one. Like, the problem for me is with LES is I can't really get anything more than this. Now, I know I can go through other ones, but I don't know how accurate that's going to be. Like, I could go through this one, but this just shows it's starting off slightly higher. But I can't get to a real... I can't go out really farther than that. There's not much I can do. You know, there's warrants too, but just what they do. So I can't really go back farther than that. I didn't technically kick somebody. I just let them take the day off, let's just say, for 24 hours. I just don't want any more gaslighting in my audience, let's just say. So if somebody comes in and they blindly lie, that's what I talked about. You're taking away somebody's innocence when they come in, because they're going to think something that's not true. And then they're not going to trust, or they're not going to even aspire to stay in here, because they're going to be, oh, this is just another telewhacker. You know, he's just another dick peddler. You know, there will be no dick touching in this chat. We will not caress anybody. We're just honest. Like, how much more honest can you be than show everybody when you sell and tell them not to buy and tell them for a week, just let it happen. Otherwise, you're going to be exit liquidity. Like, you want me to say? You can say it 7 ways from Sunday, but unless you take the advice of yourself and have the faith in what you're doing, it doesn't matter. Then you come on and be like that person and just push false narratives, which is not cool. Get sick of it sometimes that people would lie so blatantly just to get their jollies off. But what else is he going to do? He's sitting behind his cubicle at work. I'd probably be doing the same shit if I was bored out of my mind. Jealousy comes through in many different ways, folks. Defined, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Armor for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. And also being a very trusted mod in here and in the Telegram. Hi everyone, hit that like on the way in. Consider subscribing and joining Tom's Armor for the best technical analysis on YouTube. Every day you are not in the Telegram, you're missing out. I love reading that when you come in here. I truly, truly believe that. And if you're watching, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you like the way this live's going, make sure to hit that like button. We're just about 55% of everybody in here right now. We have 86 likes, just about 150 people or so in here, which is a blessing to see so many people when it's red. But this is kind of what we talked about before. When it's very red or very green, we're starting to get more faith with more and more people joining us, especially on red days, that want honest answers, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing. We've talked about H-bar a lot as well, where I've been asked where would I buy, and I even circled it in the monthly, why it's got a lot of gap area down there in the stochastic. I didn't want to sugarcoat it. Why I'm not buying it right now. Yes, I was an advocate at 4.7 and 5.2 cents on Winning Wednesdays. We sold out long ago, and now we're just waiting for this to come down and hit this, either this exit wick, well, this October 10th, I believe it was, Friday, October 10th, that liquidity wick historic one at that, which I conveniently or not conveniently timed with Lania's dumping of like 2 billion tokens on their market. But yeah, I mean, that's down at 0.72. If it does that, the technical drop out of the short-term breakdown is 9.7, so we should be seeing at least that level. But this whole market, not just H-bar, not just everything, the market's not ready. It's creating this inverse pattern, and we created our move up. Now it's that logical move down, but there's nothing we can do about this. We created the resistance in January. To me, it was the most textbook case. If you need to sell this shit now and wait for I mean, look, 38 cents in January when I told everybody to sell. And everybody can say all the bullshit like the asshole coming into chat and try to, you know, drag my name through some bullshit and act like I'm not doing something that I am. Or I don't even give a fuck about that, to be honest with you. It grinds my gears that some asshole would come in here and try to talk shit about something that is so untrue. You can just go back 11 months ago if you needed to know anything else. And the only reason I even had 25% of my crypto left is because I kept my initial 34-cent bag of XRP to this day. Because I bought $5,000 more at 38 cents. You all know the story back last July in 24 when we had that big drop. And then I sold that and it profited over $38. Like, I'm not lying to anybody. So I have no ambition to sell that other part of the XRP and take even bigger tax hit for no reason. But like I told everybody back in January, I didn't even just tell you what to do. I told you what to do. The alternative. Turn your focus to gold, silver, and mining stocks. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Came back a few days later because I was getting my ass handed to me. Notice my views those days? Because I was getting a shitload of views because we front ran this entire market and everybody was making a ton of money. And then I come on and do this and you see how I'm getting 25% the views now? That's the sacrifice I make to tell the truth. I was at all-time high viewership, all-time high subscribers on a weekly basis, all-time highs viewing time, all-time highs donations, all-time high of people joining Tom's Army. And then I came out with those updates. And guess what happened? I lost 75% of viewership, just like the first time around when I told the truth when we were going to crash. So this is the difference between being a fudster and not. I cost myself that much viewership, and it was consistent because I wanted to tell the truth. Because I wanted my audience not to get bent over. That's why it grinds my gears. I'm not going to lose 75% of my watchers and still get dragged through the mud by some dickhead that's got nothing better to do than jerk himself off in the corner at work. You know, while putting somebody down for what he's doing and doing it the right way. So that's the only way I'm going to come back at you that strong, because I don't appreciate that. So yeah. Look what's happening now. Not only were we on the biggest downturn in crypto that could have possibly happened when everybody was pushing crypto, we also gave you the 360 degree or the 180 and showed you exactly where to invest. And it was a can't miss. So, and that was all, this is all free, for God's sake. No one's paying for this. Some people are paying it forward because they feel like I should be making a lot more than I am, which is true. I even share how much I make. I make like on average, what, $2,300 a month on YouTube? That's my average. It's the average. That's why I'm not afraid to show it. Like, I can show it. I don't care. $2,300. Look how on point that was the last 28 days. I'm not afraid to show my stuff. I'm an open book. But just think about what I do. That's so, for all the time, you think about only making that, and it's like, wow, that's not a lot of money. And that's not even, the taxes aren't even taken out of that total. So think about that for a minute. Let's see. $1.81 on this current trend. If this just continues down, I mean, that $1.77 to 82. We've got multiple areas that point to those spots. I mean, we can continue to look at any kind of chart from the micro to the micro to the macro. It's all looking in a bad way, pointing towards the same area. And then it's if you fall out of that zone, that's where it really comes in. That's where it really comes back. Let's see. John Wiseman, I stopped watching crypto videos for a long time, but I came right back to Tom's channel. I appreciate that. That's a great vote of confidence for me. Makes me understand that that it makes sense what I'm doing and it can be trusted. Carl, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Love it, and I love that you agreed, my friend. Thank you, sir. Big Dog, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor, along with Daniel Milikas. That's fine, Mrs. Stott. It happens, but sometimes you just kind of speak for the reasons you do what you do, and it allowed me to get my point out. To the dismay of some and the happiness of others. We've already been here an hour. There's no way. Have we really been here an hour already? How is that possible? I don't feel like we've been here an hour already. I feel like we just started. My, oh my. Let's see where the total... Ooh. We're definitely coming towards that area, aren't we? 2.89 trillion now in real time is that old Mendoza line. Every time we're above it, we're able to hold. When we fall below it, we're trying not to show a fallout. So if we fall out, I mean, we're 252 and then possibly around 19-ish, 185 trillion. That would be a big fallout. So I think 2.52 because that's the technical drop from this rising wedge from the short perspective. Now, if you take it from the widest side, obviously... it can be a little bit bigger. It can be a little bit bigger, and we're not going to talk about that, but it can. We're just taking it from the smaller side, because that's how you get the first target. But if we fall below this, then we can start talking about the lower target. Sure, around 1.9. But we've got to get there first. No reason to send everybody up a shit's creek until we start peddling, right? USDT, unfortunately... It's exactly what we called out. It's just too obvious to see this triple bottom or inverse head and shoulders. It's just too obvious that it was there. Now, can this start coming up in a rising wedge fashion? It could, but it still feels like to me we're going to come up to 6.7, 6.8%. And if we break through that, it's got a real reason to come up to 8% in the stable coin. And that just means when you see stuff like that, that instead of having the money in the risk asset, yeah, they have it in the crypto exchanges and things like that, but instead of having it in the actual tokens, they put it in the stable coin that stays parallel to the dollar. So, Bright Future says, if I could join more than once, I would. Tom, do an awesome job. Oh, thank you so much for that. Hey, there's a couple people, believe it or not, I think 2 or 3 people to this day that pay more because there's 3 categories, but they're not. They're just there. So I mean, the money that you see me making, it's not really from advertising. I make like $500 or $600 a month from the ad revenue. It's mostly just from people in Tom's Army and the ones who send super chats, which you can see some days it's good and some weeks it takes a while to earn. But the members of Tom's Army are the ones who are they allow me to do what I do. Zero question. The daily, that's an engulfing candle, the top side again with that. Jesus Lord. And we have a bullish, see, we have a golden cross here, as where Bitcoin has a death cross working down in the daily. This has a golden cross confirmed at the highest level. And if that's a bull flag here, I think even MQT would be like, you know, this would not be great if this played out for, well, I mean, it would be good for what we want in crypto, but that would push us something like this. I mean, that could get us to 7.4 even, like, and we have a cup here with a little... I mean, this could be something. I don't want to say it's foreshadowing what's happening in crypto, but guys, let's make the correlation here, please. We're getting the shit beat out of us. Can we agree? If we're buying the dip, I mean, look at silver. Silver's pushing 64. Like, are we buying the right market if you're buying crypto all the way? Like, now you're starting to get to the point... Found it. Deleting Facebook account. The dark setting platform sucks. Yep. Facebook does suck. Oh, it does. It's just a way for me to put some content out there. And it started to help me do it for the hearing and visually impaired when I started to actually focus on, putting writings out. but I dislike it a lot. Like, I don't like TikTok at all. So I call it TikTok. TikTok. Big brainwashing event over there. I don't know how, but there's 26,000 plus people that subscribe to me on TikTok, and all I do is share my stuff from YouTube. I literally do nothing. The 60-second update was because of TikTok. There's no doubt about that. So that helped. It gave me that idea. Look at the XRP ETF down 3.5%, barely hanging on to $20.50. These are the other things we said, just let it happen and come to us. XRPNW down 5.4% to 88 cents. 88 measly cents. 88 measly cents. Remember when it pushed up here to $1.20? I said, everyone's going to be very pissed off soon, down what, 30, 40%? These things can't run unopposed. What's the Dow? Now the Dow is down 40. Remember it was up a couple hundred in pre-market? What the hell happened? NASDAQ was actually cooking in pre-market. Down 66. Oh, it must have went down at the end of the pre-market. Because NASDAQ's down 65. S&P's down $2. Dow's down 32 bucks. 30 bucks. The VIX is up 1.06%. That's not another inverse indicator for what we want. But I guess I'll leave it at that. I don't really have much more to say. It's been a good live. I think it's been a good live. I just wanted to pop in and send some universal love. And I hope you all get rich and sending good vibes from New York. Welcome in, Jack, and thank you so much. Jack of many trades. I really appreciate that. We wish you good fortunes as well, good friend. Tom, read above. Let's see. I have a lot of more silver because of you, Tommy. But I'm glad that you have a lot of silver. Not just crypto. I want to learn to trade it all. That's what it's going to be about. When I do the classes, it's not about crypto in particular. It doesn't focus on XRP crypto. It focuses on all markets, a universal trading approach. And then it also teaches you from start to finish. And we're going to walk through not just a crypto exchange. We're going to walk through a brokerage account as well, depending on which part of the lesson plan we're in. It's a whole big thing. There's a whole big thing there. And if you're in the class, you'll get more of an eyes-on look at what I do as well. Scott Lowry, or Scott. Thank you, Mrs. Stott. I was hoping you would reply to which one you wanted me to see. Scott Lowry, I've tried several times to get Telegram. Can't find Tom's Army there. The only way to get the Telegram, and if you're trying to do it yourself, you're going into the wrong fake pretender groups of people that try to spam people in my name. The only way you can get it, and you're in Tom's Army, you go to the membership area of YouTube, and you go to your perks. And when you go to your perks, it shows all this stuff. There's the exclusive Telegram link. You'll be able to click on it. You'll be able to click on the link. That would be the best way to get into the Telegram. If not, send me an email at strutrugali@gmail.com and I'll send it personally right to you. I'll do it with Julie's name on here. STRUG strutrugali@gmail.com. I just shared it with Julie's because I'm on this tablet on her name. One more like to 100 as well. So if it's not working, make sure, send me an email, Scott. I can send you another one instantly. That's what I got, scammer, so I deleted it. Link is dead. The link is not dead. If it's a permanent link. If the link is dead, it means you were in there at some point and you deleted it. So you would have to re-add me as a friend. And I only know this because it's happened 1,000 times before, unfortunately. But if you weren't in there before, I would highly encourage you to delete Telegram. And what I would do is go here, everybody. If you're using Telegram, don't download it through the App Store or the iPhone, the iTunes or Google Play or any of that crap. Go to telegram.org. I'm being serious. It's restricted and they have a lot more bullshit when you do it through the App Store and that. So you download it through telegram.org. Like I have an Android, so you'd go through here. But if you want to do it like this, it's a lot more private. So everybody, if you're using it through the App Store, it's got a white your Telegram looks white around it. See how mine looks blue? That's so you don't have to get all the nonsense and the regulations from the actual App Store and the Google Play Store. Somebody taught me that a long time ago, and it changed my world with Telegram. No joke. So go to telegram.org. If you're watching, I encourage it. And then there's one bug I've been noticing a lot. If your community hub disappears, just go down, pull your thing down, and it'll refresh, and then the community hub will show. It's such nonsense, but it happens a lot. But that's nothing that we can do. Yeah, ZBCN got hammered. I talked about why I don't own ZBCN anymore, and after the run-ups, there was a lot of them where we bought the run, like what was the one? MXC. And we bought a couple for just the runs, and I said I won't own these again until, well, maybe never. But they had those runs, and now we just got to wait. And when we came all the way through, and we had the projections. Unfortunately, it ran the top projection, which is awesome how it did it. But now, all good things come to an end, and this was so overbought. It's now oversold in the weekly even. I think the monthlies come way down, yeah. At some point, this going to have a parabolic spike, but the one thing I've always maintained is if you buy it and it comes down 70%, who cares if it has a parabolic spike from the bottom? Chances are you might not even be back to even. And that's the great thing with trading. That's how they get the people with more liquidity than they know what to do with, because they're so far down that they just sit in it and everything can happen so much. So, but I'm going to go back, go see if Julie's good. I got things to do while my son's in school. I've never done being an adult or a dad or a parent or, just whatever. So be blessed. Watch the market as we said. Hopefully I'll be able to come back again today. But this right now it's unfolding exactly like we've talked about for several days, if not weeks and months. Probably the better part of a year now. But yeah, I look forward to continued success for all of us. I look forward to continuing the expansion of what I do personally and seeing more and more people showing the interest in what you'll see once I have a link for you to sign up. But once I tell you to sign up, there's going to be like a 7 or 14 day sign up period. And then if you're not signed up, you just have to wait until the next one, because everybody who starts the class has to end the class. People will drop off just like in real classes. But I want everybody to have the same similarity, because I don't want new people coming in 6 weeks later and then you got to explain it, because it's intended to be a 4 to 6 month course. It could take a year, I don't know, and then I could open it up again to redo it from the beginning. And some people are going to redo it from the beginning over and over and over. I know, because I've done it myself in areas. I would pay for classes in a college, and I would take a class, try to become an expert. And I remember when I became a personal trainer at Macomb's South Campus, they had a personal training course where you could be certified through some shit. I think WITS, World Health. It was some bullshit. World Instructors, WITS, World Instructor Training Schools. And I was also certified through American Council of Exercise. And then there was one other one, the North American Fitness Trainers Association, I believe it was called. But I took the other one just to get the extra expertise. And that's where I learned how to do like the defibrillator and all that stuff. And the hands-on. Because the other ones you weren't really hands-on. You didn't have to take like a hands-on course. And it was like a 6-month course, so I dedicated. And then I started working at Bailey's, and Powerhouse was my worst experience because everybody was on fucking roids and I had to leave like within a week and a half. That was where I started my intern, because nobody else would let you. So I went to Powerhouse, and then I realized real quickly why they let you. They were doing some anabolics up the ass. They really wanted me to start doing them with them, and it's like, holy shit, I can't imagine what my life would be now. I'd be dead. Yeah, good times. But that's the story for another day. The point is consistency is going to breed our response. Consistency breeds your response. By being consistent, you have the response to continue to do what you're doing and get better at it. Like with fitness, with training, with the way that, like, being on an intermittent fasting, my consistency breeds the response for the next day. So every day I know when it gets to 8, 9 o'clock, I got to stop eating. Every day I know until it gets to 12 o'clock at minimum, I'm not eating. So the whole morning I'm not worried about food. You know, I'm always worried about my training when I first get up. Once I get my son to school, I come home, I work out for an hour, then I do my work. That consistency breeds a response for now. Tomorrow I'm going to do the same thing. Now tonight I would like to come back and do a live if it's possible. I never know with my son. But the fact that he fell asleep or woke up at 11 o'clock and he's been up since 11 o'clock last night and he went to school and he's got all this energy tells me when he gets home he's probably going to crash for 7, 8 hours and we're going to do it again. Which I'm all for it. I love that he gets to spend a day outside of school already up. If that's the way he wants to do it, that's the way he's going to do it. So, but yeah, that's about where we're at, and we'll try to do it again. Like, oh wow, Hansu, thank you so much for being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor, and also sending a $4.99 super chat. That's incredibly generous. That pay it forward mentality of this community holds no bounds. Bitcoin has seen a notable decline, falling from an all-time high of over 126,000 in early October to a current price of 90,000. Now, since that was put out, Bitcoin sits at 87,000, which means Bitcoin, since its all-time highs, you're going to have to put this in your pipe and smoke it, is down $39,000 from its all-time highs. But they want you to believe we're not in a bear market. That's almost, what, 40%? We're almost $40,000 down right now. That is insane. And this is with the pullback just now to the top side over for 87. Have I thought about setting up buy and sells in the Telegram? Honestly, there's no point. Because the buy and sell can always be changed and it's got to be a personal decision. See, when I do this in here, I don't want to walk somebody through the exact spot to buy it because then that's me being a financial advisor. And I'll be honest with you, I don't get paid hell of a lot. I don't get paid anywhere near what I would need to get paid to start holding your guys' hands and getting you in and out by pressing the button for you. You know? That's just the honest to God truth. There's too much pressure that goes along with that, and you're going to have to be well compensated for something like that. It's just the honest to God truth. There's a lot of stress that goes into it, and I'm not an asset manager. But yeah, that's where it's at. And yeah, somebody's going to need to do a health checkup on Sailor. He's within... His average buy right now is 74,000, just under 75K, by a hair under 75, which means he's only got $11,800 roughly of wiggle room. That's a scary place to be. That's a scary place to be.